reading room. We are here in the classroom on day 306. We as in me, the teacher. It is February 3rd and we are starting a new book. And oh, I lied to you, didn't I? But I was only making up for the lie that I told when I was going to read that book. I already decided I was going to read that book once before, didn't I? And I already decided we were going to do Orphan Train pretty soon. And here is Orphan Train. I think I said that maybe even before Black Looks. I'm not sure we were supposed to do Orphan Train. I don't have the book. I only have the PDF. So we're going to read it from the PDF until I get the book. I did purchase the book and hopefully it won't take long to get here. All right, then where is it? There it is. There's our Orphan Train by Christina. Oh, I spelled her name wrong. Let me get that right. Oh, I didn't put her name there. All right, I just, well, you know, cleaned some things up so I didn't forget them. Let's get going. I have it at this size so you can see the whole book cover. A lovely novel about the search for family that also happens to illuminate a fascinating and forgotten chapter of American history. Beautiful, by Anne Packer. Orphan Train by Christina Baker Kline. Dedication to Christina Looper Baker, who handed me the thread, and Carol Robertson Kline, who gave me the cloth. Speaking of embroidery, huh? Epigraph. In portaging from one river to another, Wabanakis had to carry their canoes and all other possessions. Everyone knew the value of traveling light and understood that it required leaving some things behind. Nothing encumbered movement more than fear, which was often the most difficult burden to surrender. Bunny McBride, Women of the Dawn. So let's take a look. We'll read the prologue. It's short. I believe in ghosts. They're the ones who haunt us, the ones who have left us behind. Many times in my life, I have felt them around me, observing, witnessing, when no one in the living world knew or cared what happened. I am 91 years old, and almost everyone who was once in my life is now a ghost. Sometimes these spirits have been more real to me than people, more real than God. They fill silence with their weight, dense and warm, like bread dough rising under cloth. My Gram, with her kind eyes and talcum-dusted skin, my Da, sobering, laughing, my Ma'am, singing a tune. The bitterness and alcohol and depression are stripped away from these phantom incarnations, and they console and protect me in death as they never did in life. I've come to think that's what heaven is, a place in the memory of others where our best selves live on. Maybe I am lucky that at the age of 9, I was given the ghosts of my parents' best selves, and at 23, the ghost of my true love's best self, and my sister, Maisie, ever present, an angel on my shoulder, 18 months to 9 years, 13 years to my 20. Now she is 84 to my 91, and with me still. No substitute for the living, perhaps what I wasn't given a choice, but I wasn't given a choice. I could take a solace in their presence, or I could fall down in a heap, lamenting what I'd lost. The ghosts whispering to me, telling me to go on. Spruce Harbor, Maine, 2011. Through her bedroom, let me also remind you that when you read along, it helps you read, right? And so, correct. And so, read along, right? Pick up the book. You've got a few days before I even get mine, and here we have it on PDF, which I did download. I don't think I put the, I didn't put the reference, so I'll make sure I get that. Through her bedroom wall, Molly can hear her foster parents talking about her in the living room just beyond her door. This is not what we signed up for, Dina is saying. If I'd known she had this many problems, I never would have agreed to it. I know, Ralph's voice is weary. He's the one Molly knows who wanted to be a foster parent long ago in his youth when he'd been a troubled teen, as he told her without elaboration. A social worker at his school had signed him up for the Big Brother program, and he'd always felt that his big brother, his mentor, he calls him, kept him on track. But Dina was suspicious of Molly from the start. It didn't help that before Molly, they'd had a boy who tried to set the elementary school on fire. I have enough stress at work, Dina says, her voice rising. I don't need to come home to this shit. Dina works as a dispatcher at the Spruce Harbor police station, and as far as Molly can see, there isn't much to stress over. A few drunk drivers, the occasional black eye, petty thefts, accidents. If you're going to be a dispatcher anywhere in the world, Spruce Harbor is probably the last stressful place imaginable. But Dina is high-strung by nature. The smallest things get to her. It's as if she assumes everything will go right, and when it doesn't, which of course is pretty often, she is surprised and affronted. Molly is the opposite. So many things have gone wrong for her in her 17 years that she's come to expect it. When something does go right, she hardly knows what to think. Which was what happened with Jack. When Molly transferred to Mount Desert Island High School last year in the 10th grade, most of the kids seemed to go out of their way to avoid her. They had their friends, their cliques, and she didn't fit into any of them. It was true that she hadn't made it easy. She knows from experience that tough and weird is preferable to pathetic and vulnerable, and she wears her goth persona like armor. Jack was the only one who'd tried to break through. It was a mid-October in social studies class when it came time to team up for a project. Molly was, as usual, the odd one out. Jack asked her to join him and his partner, Jody, who was clearly less than thrilled. For the entire 50-minute class, Molly was a cat with its back up. Why was he being so nice? What did he want from her? Was he one of those guys who got a kick out of messing with the weird girl? Whatever his motive, she wasn't about to give an inch. She stood back with her arms crossed, shoulders hunched, dark, stiff hair in her eyes. She shrugged and grunted when Jack asked her questions, though she followed along well enough and did her share of the work. That girl is freaking strange, Molly heard Jody mutter as they were leaving class after the bell rang. She creeps me out. When Molly turned and caught Jack's eye, he surprised her with a smile. I think she's kind of awesome, he said, holding Molly's gaze. For the first time since she'd come to this school, she couldn't help herself. She smiled back. What's the date of this? 2011. Okay. Over the next few months, Molly got bits and pieces of Jack's story. His father was a Dominican migrant worker who met his mother picking blueberries in Cherryfield. He got her pregnant, moved back to the DR, Dominican Republic, to shack up with the local girl and never looked back. His mother, who never married, works for a rich old lady in a shorefront mansion. By all rights, Jack should be on the social fringes too, but he isn't. He has some major thing going for him. Flashy moves on the soccer field, a dazzling smile, great big cow eyes, and ridiculous lashes. And even though he refuses to take himself seriously, Molly can tell he's way smarter than he admits. probably even smarter than he knows. Molly couldn't care less about Jack's prowess on the soccer field, but smart she respects. The cow eyes are a bonus. Her own curiosity is the one thing that kept her from going off the rails. Being goth wipes away any expectation of conventionality, so Molly finds she's free to be weird in lots of ways at once. She reads all the time in the halls and the cafeteria, mostly novels with angsty protagonists. The Virgin Suicide's Catcher in the Rye, The Bell Jar. She copies vocabulary words down in a notebook because she likes the way they sound. Haradan, Pusillanimous. Let's try that one again. Nimbus, Animus, Pusillanimous, Talisman, Dowager, Enervating, Sycophantic, that's it. That one I should know. As a newcomer, Molly had liked the distance her persona created, the wariness and mistrust she saw in the eyes of her peers. But though she's loath to admit it, lately that persona has begun to feel restrictive. It takes ages to get the look right every morning, and rituals once freighted with meaning, dyeing her hair jet black, accented with purple or white streaks, rimming her eyes with kohl, applying foundation several shades lighter than her skin tone, adjusting and fastening various pieces of uncomfortable clothing, now make her impatient. She feels like a circus clown who wakes up one morning and no longer wants to glue on the red rubber nose. Most people don't have to exert so much effort to stay in character. Why should she? She fantasizes that the next place she goes, because there's always a next place, another foster home, a new school, she'll start over with a new, easier to maintain look. Grunge? Sex kitten? The probability that this will be sooner rather than later grows more likely with every passing minute. Dina has wanted to get rid of Molly for a while, and now she's got a valid excuse. Ralph staked his credibility on Molly's behavior. He worked hard to persuade Dina that a sweet kid was hiding under that fierce hair and makeup. Well, Ralph's credibility is out the window now. Molly gets down on her hands and knees and lifts her eyelet bed skirt. She pulls out two brightly colored duffel bags, the ones Ralph bought for her on clearance at the LL Bean outlet in Ellsworth. The red one monogrammed Braden, and the orange Hawaiian flowered one, Ashley, rejected for color, style, or just the dorkiness of those names in white thread. Molly doesn't know. As she's opening the top drawer of her dresser, a percussive thumping under her comforter turns into a tinny version of Daddy Yankee's Impacto. "So you'll know it's me and answer the damn phone," Jack said when he bought her the ringtone. "Hola, mi amigo." Hola, mi amigo, she says when she finally finds it. "Hey, what's up, chica?" "Oh, you know, Dina's not so happy right now." "Yeah? Yeah, it's pretty bad." "How bad?" Well, I think I'm out of here. She feels her breath catch in her throat. It surprises her, given how many times she's been through a version of this. "Nah," he says, "I don't think so." "Yeah," she says, pulling out a wad of socks and underwear and dumping them in the Braden bag. "I can hear them out there talking about it. But you need to do those community service hours." "It's not going to happen." She picks up her charm necklace, tangled in a heap on the top of the dresser, and rubs the gold chain between her fingers, trying to loosen the knot. "Dina says nobody will take me. I'm untrustworthy." The tangle loosens under her thumb, and she pulls the strand apart. "It's okay. I hear juvie isn't so bad. It's only a few months away." "But you didn't steal that book." Cradling the flat phone to her ear, she puts on the necklace, fumbling with the clasp, and looks in the mirror above the dresser. Black makeup is smeared under her eyes like a football player. Right, Molly? The thing is, she did steal it, or tried. It's her favorite novel, Jane Eyre, and she wanted to own it, to have it in her possession. Sherman's bookstore in Bar Harbor didn't have it in stock, and she was too shy to ask the clerk to order it. Dina wouldn't give her a credit card number to buy it online. She never wanted anything so badly, well, not for a while. So there she was, in the library on her knees, in the narrow fiction stacks, the 3 copies of novels, 2 paperbacks, and 1 hardcover on the shelf in front of her. She'd already taken the hardcover out of the library twice, gone up to the front desk, and signed it out with her library card. She pulled all 3 books off the shelf, weighed them in her hand. She put the hardcover back, slid it in beside the Da Vinci Code, the newer paperback too. She returned to the shelf. The copy she slipped under the waistband of her jeans was old and dog-eared, the pages yellowed with passages underlined in pencil. The cheap binding with its dry glue was beginning to detach from the pages. If they'd put it in the annual library sale, it would have gone for 10 cents at most. Nobody, Molly figured, would miss it. 2 other newer copies were available, but the library had recently installed magnetic anti-theft strips, and several months earlier, 4 volunteers, ladies of a certain age who devoted themselves passionately to all things Spruce Harbor Library, had spent several weeks installing them on the inside covers of all 11,000 books. So when Molly left the building that day through what she hadn't even realized was a theft detection gate, a loud, insistent beeping brought the head librarian, Susan LeBlanc, swooping over like a homing pigeon. Molly confessed immediately, or rather tried to say that she'd meant to sign it out, but Susan LeBlanc was having none of it. "For goodness sake, don't insult me with a lie," she said. "I've been watching you. I thought you were up to something." And what a shame that her assumptions had proven correct. She'd have liked to be surprised in a good way just this once. "Aw, shit, really?" Jack sighs. Looking in the mirror, Molly runs her finger across the charms on the chain around her neck. She doesn't wear it much anymore, but every time something happens, she knows she'll be on the move again. She puts it on. She bought the chain at a discount store, Marden's in Ellingsworth, and strung it with these 3 charms: a blue and green cloisonne fish, a pewter raven, and a tiny brown bear that her father gave her on her 8th birthday. He was killed in a 1-car rollover several weeks later, speeding down I-95 in an icy night, after which her mother, all of 23, started a downward spiral she never recovered from. By Molly's next birthday, she was living with a new family, and her mother was in jail. The charms are all she has left of what used to be her life. You know, that right there is the system. That right there is the system. How was her mother in jail? I mean, not that that is a detail that is necessary when we're talking about Molly and Molly's condition and Molly's life, but it's just once you're in the system, forget that. Forget it. You are fucked once you're in the system. Don't I fucking know it? Ralph, too, has tried to see the goodness in her. Oh, wait, never mind. Jack is a nice guy, but she's been waiting for this. Eventually, like everyone else, social workers, teachers, foster parents, he'll get fed up, feel betrayed, realize Molly's more trouble than she's worth. Much as she wants to care for him, and as good as she is at letting him believe she does, she has never really let herself. It isn't that she's faking it exactly, but part of her is always holding back. She has learned that she can control her emotions by thinking of her chest cavity as an enormous box with a chain lock. She opens the box and stuffs in any stray unmanageable feelings, any wayward sadness or regret, and clamps it shut. Ralph, too, has tried to see goodness in her. He is predisposed to it. He sees it when it isn't even there. And though part of Molly is grateful for his faith in her, she doesn't fully trust it. It's almost better with Dina, who doesn't try to hide her suspicions. It is easier to assume that people have it out for you than to be disappointed when they don't come through. Jane Eyre, Jack says. What does it matter? I wouldn't have bought it. I would have bought it for you. Yeah, well, even after getting into trouble like this and probably getting sent away, she knows she'd never have asked Jack to buy this book. If there is one thing she hates most about being in the foster care system, it's this dependence on people you barely know, your vulnerability to their whims. She has learned not to expect anything from anybody. Her birthdays are often forgotten. She is an afterthought at holidays. Actually, you know what? That's not true. You're not an afterthought, and your birthday isn't forgotten. They remember it, and they purposefully don't do anything about it. My mom remembered my birthdays, then she went to bingo or did whatever she wanted to do. I didn't get presents for Christmas for a long time until, I don't know, my dad was insistent upon it. I'm not sure. But my sisters did. Wonderful presents, trains, all kinds of wonderful things. I think my sister Tony Marie started asking for only one thing for Christmas. I think that that has to damage your spirit, your belief in God, your soul, to see parents or a parent completely discriminate. Okay. She has to make do with what she gets, and what she gets is rarely what she asked for. You're so fucking stubborn, Jack says, as if divining her thoughts. Look at the trouble you get yourself into. There's a hard knock on Molly's door. She holds the phone to her chest and watches the doorknob turn. That's another thing. No lock, no privacy. Dina pokes her head into the room, her pink lipstick mouth a thin line. We need to have a conversation. All right, let me get off the phone. Who are you talking to? Molly hesitates. Does she have to answer? Oh, what the hell? Jack. Dina scowls. Hurry up. We don't have all night. I'll be there. Molly waits, staring blankly at Dina until her head disappears around the door frame and puts the phone back to her ear. Time for the firing squad. No, listen, Jack says. I have an idea. It's a little crazy. What? She says sullenly. I have to go. I talked to my mother. Jack, are you serious? You told her? She already hates me. Whoa, hear me out. First of all, she doesn't hate you. And second, she spoke to the lady she works for, and it looks like maybe you can do your hours there. What? Yeah, but how? Well, you know my mom is the world's worst housekeeper. Molly loves the way he says this, matter-of-factly, without judgment, as if he were reporting that his mother is left-handed. So the lady wants to clean out her attic, old papers and boxes, and all this shit. My mom's worst nightmare. And I came up with the idea to have you do it. I bet you could kill the 50 hours there easy. Wait a minute, you want me to clean an old lady's attic? Yeah, right up your alley, don't you think? Come on, I know how anal you are. Don't try to deny it. All your stuff lined up on the shelf, or all your papers and files, and aren't your books alphabetical? You notice that? I know you better than you think. Molly does have to admit, as peculiar as it is, she likes putting things in order. She's actually kind of a neat freak, moving around as much as she has. She has learned to take care of her few possessions, but she's not sure about this idea. Stuck alone in a musty attic day after day, going through some lady's trash? Still, given the alternative, she wants to meet you, Jack says. Who? Vivian Daly, the old lady. She wants you to come for an interview. I have to interview with her, you're saying? It's just part of the deal, he says. Are you up for that? Do I have a choice? Sure, you can go to jail. Molly, Dina barks, rapping on the door. Out here right now. All right, she calls, and then to Jack. All right, what? I'll do it. I'll go and meet her, interview with her. Great, he says. Oh, and you might want to wear a skirt or something, just, and maybe take out a few earrings. What about my nose ring? I love the nose ring, he says, but I get it. Just for this first meeting. That's all right. Listen, thanks. Don't thank me for being selfish, he says. I just want you around a little longer. When Molly opens up the bedroom door to Dina's and Ralph's tense and apprehensive faces, she smiles. You don't have to worry. I've got a way to do my hours. Dina shoots a look at Ralph, an expression Molly recognizes from reading years of host parents' cues. But I understand if you want me to leave, I'll find something else. We don't want you to leave, Ralph says at the same time that Dina says, we need to talk about it. They stare at each other. Whatever, Molly says, if it doesn't work out, it's okay. And in that moment, with bravado borrowed from Jack, it is okay. It is okay. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't work out. Molly learned long ago that a lot of the heartbreak and betrayal that other people fear their entire lives, she has already faced. Father dead, mother off the deep end, shuttled around and rejected time and time again. And still she breathes and sleeps and grows taller. She wakes up every morning and puts on clothes. So when she says it's okay, what she means is that she knows she can survive just about anything. And now for the first time since she can remember, she has someone looking out for her. What's his problem anyway? How cute is that? Spruce Harbor, Maine, 2011. Molly takes a deep breath. The house is bigger than she imagined. A white Victorian monolith with curlicues and black shutters. Peering out the windshield, she can see it's in immaculate shape. No evidence of peeling or rot, which means it must have been recently painted. No doubt the old lady employs people who work on it constantly, a queen's army of worker bees. It's a warm April morning. The ground is spongy with melted snow and rain, but today is one of those rare, almost balmy days that hint at the glorious summer ahead. The sky is luminously blue with large, woolly clouds. Clumps of crocuses seem to have sprouted everywhere. Okay, Jack's saying, here's the deal. She's a nice lady, but kind of uptight. Not exactly a barrel of laughs. He puts his car in park and squeezes Molly's shoulder. Just nod and smile and you'll be fine. How old is she again? Molly mumbles. She's annoyed with herself for feeling nervous. Who cares? It's just one ancient pack rat who needs help getting rid of her shit. She hopes it isn't disgusting and smelly like the houses of those hoarders on TV. I don't know. Old. By the way, you look nice, Jack adds. Molly scowls. She's wearing a pink Land's End blouse that Dina loaned her for the occasion. I barely recognize you, Dina said dryly when Molly emerged from the bedroom in it. You look so ladylike. At Jack's request, Molly has taken out the nose ring and left only 2 studs in each ear. She spent more time than usual on her makeup, too, blending the foundation to a shade more pale than ghostly, going lighter on the kohl. She even bought a pink lipstick at the drugstore, Maybelline Wet Shine Lip Color in Marvelous, a name that cracks her up. She stripped off her many thrift store rings and is wearing the charm necklace from her dad instead of the usual chunky array of crucifixes and silver skulls. Her hair is still black with the white stripe on either side of her face, and her fingernails are black too, but it's clear she's made an effort to look, as Dina remarked, closer to a normal human being. After Jack's Hail Mary pass, or Hail Molly, as he called it, Dina grudgingly agreed to give her another chance. Cleaning an old lady's attic, she snorted, yeah, right, I give it a week. Molly hardly expected a big vote of confidence from Dina, but she has some doubts herself. Is she really going to devote 50 hours of her life to crotchety dowwagger in a drafty attic? Do-wager? Is that what that is? It was on her list, though. In a drafty attic, going through boxes filled with moths and dusty mites, and who knows what else. In juvie, she'd be spending the same time in group therapy, always interesting, and watching The View, interesting enough. There would be other girls to hang with. As it is, she'll have Dina at home and this old lady here watching her every move. Molly looks at her watch. They're 5 minutes early, thanks to Jack, who hustled her out the door. Remember eye contact, he says, and be sure to smile. You are such a mom. You know what your problem is? That my boyfriend is acting like a mom? No, your problem is you don't seem to realize your ass is on the line here. What line? Where? She looks around, wiggling her butt in the seat. Listen, he rubs her chin. My ma didn't tell Vivian about juvie and all that. As far as she knows, you're doing a community service project for school. So she doesn't know about my criminal past. Sucker. Ay diablo, he says, opening the door and getting out. Are you coming in with me? He slams the door, then walks around the back of the car to the passenger side and opens the door. No, I am escorting you to the front step. My, what a gentleman. She slides out. Or is it that you don't trust me not to bolt? Truthfully, both, he says. Standing before the large walnut door with its oversized brass knocker, Molly hesitates. She turns to look at Jack, who is already back in his car, headphones in his ears, flipping through what she knows is a dog-eared collection of Junot Diaz stories he keeps in the glove compartment. We read that book. And it was so good. She stands straight, shoulders back, tucks her hair behind her ears, fiddles with the collar of her blouse. When's the last time she wore a collar? A dog collar, maybe. And raps the knocker. No answer. She raps again, a little louder. Then she notices a buzzer to the left of the door and pushes it. Chimes gong loudly in the house. And within seconds, she can see Jack's mom. Terry barreling toward her with a worried expression. It's always startling to see Jack's big brown eyes and his mother's wide, soft-featured face. Though Jack has assured Molly that his mother is on board, that damn attic project has been hanging over her head for so long you have no idea. Molly knows the reality is more complicated. Terry adores her only son and would do just about anything to make him happy. However much Jack wants to believe that Terry's fine and dandy with this plan, Molly knows that he steamrolled her into it. When Terry opens the door, she gives Molly a once-over. Well, you clean up nice. Thanks, I guess, Molly mutters. She can't tell if Terry's outfit is a uniform or if it's just so boring that it looks like one. Black pants, clunky black shoes with rubber soles, a matronly peach-collared t-shirt. Molly follows her down a long hallway lined with oil paintings and etchings in gold frames, the oriental runner beneath their feet, muting their footsteps. At the end of the hall is a closed door. Terry leans with her ear against it for a moment and knocks softly. Vivian, she opens the door a crack. The girl is here. Molly Iyer. Yep, okay. She opens the door wide onto a large sunny living room and views of the water filled with floor-to-ceiling bookcases and antique furniture. An old lady wearing a black cashmere crew neck sweater is sitting beside the bay window in a faded red wingback chair. Her veiny hands folded in her lap, a wool tartan blanket draped over her knees. When they are standing in front of her, Terry says, Molly, this is Mrs. Daly. Hello, Molly says, holding out her hand as her father taught her to do. Hello, the old woman's hand, when Molly grasps it, is dry and cool. She is a sprightly, spidery woman with a narrow nose and piercing hazel eyes as bright and sharp as a bird's. Her skin is thin, almost translucent, and her wavy silver hair is gathered at the nape of her neck in a bun. Light freckles, or are they age spots, are sprinkled across her face. A topographical map of veins runs up her hands and over her wrists, and she has dozens of tiny creases around her eyes. She reminds Molly of the nuns at the Catholic school she attended briefly in Augusta, a quick stopover with an ill-suited foster family, who seemed ancient in some ways and create her naturally young, and others, like the nuns, this woman has a slightly imperious air, as if she is used to getting her way. And why wouldn't she? Molly thinks she is used to getting her way. All right then, I'll be in the kitchen if you need me, Terry says, and disappears through another door. The old woman leans toward Molly, a slight frown on her face. How on earth do you achieve that effect? The skunk stripe, she says, reaching up and brushing her own temple. Molly is surprised no one has ever asked her this before. It's a combination of bleach and dye. How did you learn to do it? I saw a video on YouTube. YouTube? On the internet. Ah. She lifts her chin. The computer, I'm too old to take up such fads. I don't think you can call it a fad. It's changed the way we live, Molly says. Then she smiles contritely, aware that she's already gotten herself into disagreement with her potential boss. Not the way I live, the old woman says. It must be quite time-consuming. What? Doing that to your hair? Oh, it's not so bad. I've been doing it for a while now. What's your natural color, if you don't mind my asking? I don't mind, Molly says. It's dark brown. Well, my natural color is red. It takes Molly a moment to realize she's making a little joke about being gray. I like what you've done with it, she parries. It suits you. The old woman nods and settles back in her chair. She seems to approve. Molly feels some of the tension leave her shoulders. Excuse my rudeness, but at my age, there's no point in beating around the bush. Your appearance is quite stylized. Are you one of those, what are they called, Gothics? Molly can't help smiling. Sort of. You borrowed that blouse, I presume. You needn't have borrowed. You needn't have bothered. It doesn't suit you. She gestures for Molly to sit across from her. You may call me Vivian. I never liked being called Mrs. Daly. My husband is no longer alive, you know. I'm sorry. No need to be sorry. He died 88 years ago. Anyway, I am 91 years old. Not many people know I once knew are still alive. Molly isn't sure how to respond. Isn't it polite to tell people they don't look as old as they are? She wouldn't have guessed that this woman is 91, but she doesn't have much basis for comparison. Her father's parents died when he was young. Her mother's parents never married. And she never met her grandfather. The one grandparent Molly remembers, her mother's mother, died of cancer when she was 3. Terry tells me you're in foster care, Vivian says. Are you an orphan? My mother's alive, but yes, I consider myself an orphan. Technically, you're not, though. I think if you don't have parents who look after you, then you can call yourself whatever you want. Vivian gives her a long look as if she's considering this idea. Fair enough, she says. Tell me about yourself, then. Molly has lived in Maine her entire life. She's never even crossed the state line. She remembers bits and pieces of her childhood on Indian Island before she went into foster care. The gray-sided trailer she lived in with her parents, the community center with pickups parked all around, Sockalexis Bingo Palace, and St. Anne's Church. She remembers an Indian cornhusk doll with black hair and a traditional native costume that she kept on a shelf in her room, though she preferred the Barbies donated by charities and doled out at the community center at Christmas. They were never the popular ones, of course, never Cinderella or Beauty Queen Barbie, but instead one-off oddities that bargain hunters could find on clearance. Hot Rod Barbie, Jungle Barbie, it didn't matter. However peculiar Barbie's costume, her features were always reliably the same. The freakish stiletto-ready feet, the oversized rack and ribless midsection, the ski slope nose, and shiny plastic hair. But that's not what Vivian wants to hear. Where to start? What to reveal? This is the problem. It's not a happy story, and Molly has learned through experience that people either recoil or don't believe her, or worse, pity her. So she's learned to tell an abridged version. Well, she says, I'm a Penobscot Indian on my father's side. When I was young, we lived on a reservation near Old Town. Ah, hence the black hair and tribal makeup. Molly is startled. She's never thought to make that connection. Is it true? Sometimes Sometime in the 8th grade, during a particularly rough year, angry, screaming foster parents, jealous foster siblings, a pack of mean girls at school, she got a box of L'Oreal 10-minute hair color and CoverGirl ebony eyeliner and transformed herself in the family bathroom. A friend who worked at Claire's at the mall did her piercings the following weekend, a string of holes in each ear, up through the cartilage, a stud in her nose, and a ring in her eyebrow, though that one didn't last. It soon got infected and had to be taken out, the remaining scar a spider web tracing. The piercings were the straw that got her thrown out of the foster home. Mission accomplished. Molly continues her story, how her father died and her mother couldn't take care of her, how she ended up with Ralph and Dina. So Terry tells me you were assigned some kind of community service project, and she came up with a brilliant idea for you to help me clean my attic, Vivian says. Seems like a bad bargain for you, but who am I to say? I'm kind of a neat freak, believe it or not. I like organizing things. Then you are even stranger than you appear. Vivian sits back and clasps her hands together. I'll tell you something. By your definition, I was orphaned too, at almost exactly the same age. So we have that in common. Molly isn't sure how to respond. Does Vivian want her to ask about this, or is she just putting it out there? It's hard to tell. Your parents, she ventured, didn't look after you. They tried. There was a fire. Vivian shrugs. It was also long ago. I barely remember. Now, when do you want to begin? Let's see where we are on time. 41 minutes. So let's finish this. Oh. That's it. That's it. For her story, 2 chapters. I want to see what was in the attic. That's for doggone sure. But I find that interesting as well, don't you? I mean, you want to know about her life. You want to know about Vivian's life. You want to know about the attic. Maybe not so much about Dina and Ralph, but Jack for sure. And I forgot her name. Is it Molly? Yeah, Molly. Yeah. Life's together, right? It goes to show you not every story is as expected on or from the orphan train. These struggles in life, just like they said somewhere in this, no. In our Reader's Digest article from Bookless Classroom, these struggles are the things that give you depth, give you personality, give you whatever comes out of that, right? Which is your personality. And it gives you your life's stories. This is Dr. Annette Feravich. We are here in the reading room where we have started our new book. I'm waiting for it to come in the mail. But in the meantime, we're reading the PDF. Don't forget that reading along improves your reading no matter what. It is February 3rd. It is day 306. We are here in the classroom. Thanks so much for joining the teacher in ways that we are working to make your mind, your body, and your spirit healthier. No drugs. None of your poison. All right. Take it easy. Thanks so much for joining me here in the classroom, where we are reading The Orphan Train by Christina, which I think I spelled wrong. No, I didn't spell it wrong there. Christina Baker Kline. Thanks for joining me.